For the past 6 years, 24 has been one of the most popular shows in America. It averages 15 million viewers a night. Over time, it's averaged about a torture scene every other week.
I'm running out of time here, so why don't we just cut to the chase?
The producers of the show, it turns out, it's now in its sixth year, there's a certain amount of fatigue at this point. Some of them feel that they have used up and done every single kind of torture scene that they can possibly think of. Though they don't do waterboarding, the producer of it promised me that if he does do waterboarding, he was going to use bottled water because it's Hollywood.
Just tell me what's your connection to the terrorists.
You can see them using hot scalpels that are smoking. They use syringes filled with some kind of medicine that cause just dire pain and some kind of sodium pentothal qualities to it. You can see knives. You can see people held at gunpoint. You can see people shot. You can see people suffocated.
What is your primary objective?
It used to be before 9/11 that it was just the evil people who used torture, but at this point, many of them are heroes who represent America or are working for the American government, which is the case of Jack Bauer, who is the hero of 24.
Target, call Secret Service now.
The creative force behind the show is a man named Joel Surnow, and he is politically, as he calls himself, a right-wing nut job, and joking about himself. But he is very, very conservative and an admirer of the hardest of hard power. So the show really reflects an ideological point of view. If you take a look at this one particular issue, which is whether torture should be used in the war on terrorism, there's really only one point of view shown in the show 24, which is that torture is necessary and torture works. Recently, the dean of West Point came out to the set to confront the people who create 24. Torture is completely illegal in this country and internationally, but the show makes such a good case for it and is so popular with the cadets at West Point that the dean of West Point, whose name is Patrick Finnegan, and he's a brigadier general, felt that it's really beginning to hurt the ability to get soldiers to obey the law. So he went out to beseech the creators of 24 to at least make some of the arguments against torture and to show the reality, which is that, according to many experts, torture really doesn't work.
But everyone breaks eventually.
The entire premise of the show is that America's facing some kind of ticking time bomb disaster, and in order to stop it, Jack Bauer needs to catch suspects and torture them. That's the way the whole show works.
Where's the bomb?
If you talk to people who really are involved in the war on terrorism, they will tell you it's just not like that. It's not that dramatic. It's very rare that they get operational details on any kind of unfolding plot. And if you do capture a suspect who might know something about a plot, you'd stand a much better chance of unraveling it by creating some kind of rapport with the suspect.
I am the imam of this mosque.
A number of the methods that Jack Bauer himself uses in the show are methods that have been used by the United States government in the way they've treated detainees in the war on terror and have been very controversial. In one scene, Jack Bauer declines to give medical help to a prisoner of his. She's a gunshot victim, and rather than helping her out while she's in just awful pain and shrieking, he says that he is going to deny her medicine until she tells him where the bomb is.
Where is the bomb?
Can you make him stop? No, Marie. You make him stop.
This is something that was actually done, according to news reports, to one of the top al-Qaeda suspects in U.S. custody, Abu Zubaydah. He was shot in the groin, and according to many news reports, the U.S. officials in whose custody he was refused to give him any kind of painkillers until he told them everything he possibly could that would be of use.
In the van.
What van? Where was the van headed?
In another episode, we get to see the United States government using some of the sensory deprivation techniques that the CIA has been accused of using.
Richard, how long do you think it's been?
What?
How long do you think you've been sitting here like this?
Sensory deprivation techniques were developed during the Cold War in this country, and many of them have been compiled in something called the 1963 Kubark Manual on Interrogation. And copies of that manual, according to some of the people I interviewed, sort of float around the offices of 24, and you can see the way they've been influenced by it in this one episode, in which the son of a high government official who is considered a possible traitor is placed in a room with headphones and goggles on where he's subjected to just hideous sounds that drive him crazy. And that very much mimics what reports have said is the treatment of Jose Padilla, who has been placed in both goggles and earphones and kept in complete isolation for 3.5 years in the U.S. government custody.
Thousands of lives are at stake. People that we promised to protect.
I watched so much of 24. I have to say, despite what I think of torture and you know, how uncivilized and illegal and unethical and immoral it is, you've got to say when you watch the show that it is riveting watching. It's an addictive show. It gets so that you just can't wait to see the next DVD.
Start it.
The notion that it's just entertainment is certainly the rationale that's used by the people who make it. But what the Dean of West Point came out to California to tell the producers of 24 was that it's not just entertainment. It's actually taken as real life by a number of people, including a number of soldiers. And they also said that they felt that a show like this, which has huge sales of DVDs around the world, very much projects an image of the United States that is hurtful to the United States, they felt. They made the point that we can talk about obeying the Geneva Conventions as much as we want, but what the world sees is Jack Bauer, and what Jack Bauer does is torture.